Welcome. Let's introduce each other. I'm going to do a technique with you guys at the beginning that I want you to think about doing when you're programming for young professionals, or as we call them, yo pros. Lori, would you please tell us a bit about yourself?
For sure. So my name's Lori Brown and I'm from Stratford, Ontario, Canada. I work in commercial banking. I love to travel. I miss travel right now. And that's me in a nutshell.
Very good. What's the name of your Rotary Club?
The Rotaract Club of Stratford.
Thank you. And the district?
66330.
Great. Thank you very much. Ruben, you're in the same district. Are you in the same club?
No, so I'm with the Rotaract Highlanders, which is up based out of Markdale in Grey County.
That's a better club.
I think so, yeah.
We just don't know. We just don't care, actually. What are you doing for work, Ruben?
So by day, I'm a realtor. I'm also a realtor by night because it seems to be the case, especially in this market. And kind of have jumped on the district level of this Rotaract stuff because I found myself to be pretty engaged at the club level. And I was pretty excited to step up and try to make some stuff happen in the district too.
Thank you very much. Are you a Rotaractor or a Rotarian?
Rotaractor.
Okay, and how old are you, sir?
How old am I? I am 30.
All right, very good. Just curious what the age break is. Everybody perceives that to be different. Lori, what do you do during the day, please?
Yes, so I commercial banking, lending.
Okay.
I work for a local credit union.
You might have mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
Are you a Rotaractor or Rotarian?
Rotaractor as well.
Okay, very good. So your Rotaractors planning an event for fellow Rotaractors?
That's correct, for Rotaract Week in March.
And ideally, I mean, are you promoting it all to people that aren't in Rotary? Are you promoting to potential Rotaractors? Have you thought that far ahead?
Not specifically. I'd say there's a few ideas kind of spinning around back there. So talking about primarily Rotaractors, but also Youth Exchange, former Youth Exchange members.
All right.
And we'll open it up to anybody else who wants to join, possibly some younger Rotarians who would find the content relevant to their stage of life. And always good to promote these events as reasons to join Rotaract.
How many people are you expecting on this Zoom event?
We don't know. And really, this is the front end of the planning process. So I would say, Ruben, jump in and correct me at any point, but I don't know.
Okay. So let's get started here with some talking points, some things that to keep in mind as you move forward, not only for this event, but other events. I've had the pleasure of working with meeting planners all over the world, and I always learn from them. And I'm happy to pass on some of these things that have worked wonders. And I use them now in my own event. I certainly use them when I speak in Rotary. I've already demonstrated some of those events for you in this very call. Let's go back to the number of people you want to have on the event. There's no right and wrong answer, right? It's just what you want it to be. And you want to aim high versus low. And so why don't you just try to get 100 people on the call or try to get 50 people on the call, but be definite about the number, because now you're telling people we're expecting 50, we're expecting 100. There's a thing in psychology, guys, called the power of the sign. And when you put it in writing, it's the truth. It's the way it is, right? No shoes, no shirt, no service. Famous sign on the front door of every ice cream parlor, right? And, you know, truth is, if you come in without shoes on, they may slip you a comb on the side. I mean, there's nothing, it's just, but because you see that sign, you're not going to challenge it. You're going to send your friend in for the ice cream. The power of the sign, very powerful. And you create your own signage in life. So why not just tell people it's going to be 100? One of the people that are on the call with you, I want you to assign as a greeter for the call, just like I greeted you on the call today. No dead air. People in radio get fired for dead air. I was on a Rotary meeting this morning and there was dead air. It was like church before the call. Like these people didn't even know each other. Shameful, you know. And we had visitors on the call, people that are thinking about joining Rotary, and we were like lifeless. I mean, it was just stunning to me. And I was doing my part to kind of keep the ball in the air, thinking about volleyball, just keep the ball in the air. But, if somebody doesn't own it, it's not likely to get done. So make that person affable, friendly. And here's the rule of thumb. You want to try to get everybody to speak early and often. Now, we only had 3 people on the call total today, but notice I didn't open the call by showing you slide 1 of a 57 slide PowerPoint presentation. In fact, I don't even have PowerPoint for you today. I started talking to you as a person, didn't I, Ruben? And I showed interest in you as a person. What do you do for work, man? And my favorite questions aren't about work or Rotary at all, or about fun. What do you do for fun, Ruben?
What do I do for fun? It's all about horses and traveling.
Okay.
Well, when I can travel.
Very good. And I know that Lori mentioned travel as well. So now I'm learning about you as a person, and it sets the tone, it creates a much different environment. This is especially true for younger people on calls because they're deferential. And if you're older than they are, or you're senior to them or somehow, or you're titled because you've got a title in Rotaract and they don't, they're just going to get in the back seat and try to enjoy the ride. But you want to constantly invite people into the front seat. Ask them if they want to ride with you in the front seat. Ask them if they want to drive for a little bit. It's a wonderful invitation, and you'd be surprised how many people take you up on it. So by having that greeter, you set that tone early on that this is going to be different than all of the other Zoom snooze fest that you attend, where you just zone out or start answering email or whatever. It's not long before people drift. You know what I'm talking about. So the other thing I would suggest is that you have a very fast-paced program, that you keep it moving. Right now, I'm chugging along at about 190 words a minute. It's faster than I would talk if I was teaching you something, but when I can always slow it down if I'm going to be going through a diagram or steps, or I need to, emphasize something. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep the energy level high because I don't want you drifting on me. Right? You feel that, right? The 190 words. The average person speaks about 150 words a minute. The Rotary call this morning was 125 words a minute. And again, it just sets the tone. We've got a lot to do, and I'm bringing energy. I teach this to my Present Like a Pro students. I want them to, because people in the front of the room or people running the meeting, they set the tone. They create the energy, and the other people will mirror that energy. If you start flat, they'll come at you flat. If you start with high end, they'll come at you high end. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Motivational speaking 101, everybody. And you are in the motivation business if you're running Rotaract in your district. Okay, so we got a few major points on the table. When you're aiming at 100 people, I've said this about meeting planners, any type of event, anything you want to do, any idiot can aim at a target on the wall, right? But smart people, you guys, aim at the bullseye of the target. And if you aim at the bullseye, you're more likely to hit the bullseye, and your bullseye is 100, starting now. It can be whatever number you want. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Now, what are you going to give these people on the call, these young professionals? What are you going to give them that it's called in the business a USP, a unique selling proposition. It's how you're going to market the event and get them to the call. The USP is going to be very evident, not only in the body of the emails that you send out, but in the subject lines of the emails you send out. It's going to be in the pitch. What's your pitch? Do you have one?
I don't have one now. I am hoping to get a better understanding tonight from what we're expecting to deliver, so that I have a better understanding before I can create a pitch for it. I think.
Let's not overcomplicate this. You have a guest speaker. It's me, right? If you want, you can make me the USP, but you have to sell it, man. You have to sell, and I'm talking about myself now like a box of cornflakes. I don't care who your speaker is. You sell that speaker like he's the most interesting person in the world. What's that beer commercial? The most interesting man in the world, right? Because if you just say we have a guest speaker, we're flat again, right? 125 words a minute. You tell them that the speaker's been done his thing on 5 continents and 49 of the 50 states. Now that's an interesting little way to say it.
How many provinces?
That's a good question. I have a funny joke. I have a funny joke I always tell when I'm in Canada, and I'm in Canada a lot because I'm public image. I'm co-coordinator for Zone 28 for public image. As I would say, Canadians are so great because they always begin with compliments. It's a great way to just begin any conversation. You look great. I love your energy. I always like being with you. You know, it's kind of anything that's, and make it true, you know, of course, think of David Elliott. And you make it true, of course. And so the joke I always use with Canada audiences, hi, David.
Hi there, how you doing?
I always say, you know, I'm so jealous because, you know, you guys are so disciplined with education, you know, so much more about geography than Americans do, you know. I'm like, you guys can name all 50 states and most Americans can't even name the 5 provinces. And of course, if there's any Americans in the audience, they don't even think that's funny because they think there are 5 provinces. It's just hysterical. I don't actually know how many provinces, and of course it's a trick question, isn't it, Lori? It depends on how you count them. Are we counting the territories? So let's just say a lot of them. But the idea is about the USP is you make the speaker the best thing since sliced bread if the speaker's the USP. In a physical world, it might be the venue, or maybe you've got a special dessert that night. And, you know, I've done a million things with district conferences and stuff. You can make it whatever you want it to be. It can be, in the early days, it was a photo booth. Remember when people can put on crazy hats and stuff and take pictures? That ship has kind of sailed. It's not special anymore. But at one time, it was a cool thing to do. So the thing about Zoom calls is because they're 2-dimensional, there's not a lot of physicality going on. You have to be really clever. Now, YoPros like games, so maybe you can play a quick game, and you have to get clever about this too. I wish I could recommend one to you, but find a little game like, there's a game back, they used to call it the soap opera name game. Maybe you guys know it by something else, but you take your middle name, like my middle name's Angelo, and that becomes my first name. And my street, the name of my street becomes my second name. I live on Tremont. So my soap opera name is Angelo Tremont. It's a fun little, cute little thing. And you'll find that people have really interesting soap opera names. And you can just kind of just spot around. That's a good thing for the greeter to do, right? To get everybody involved. He can keep asking, hey, Henry, nice to see you on the call. What's your soap opera name? And then you see Henry start thinking, and then he's got some kind of slide delivery. And before you know it, we're having some fun. So little tricks that you can use to get people intrigued and interested on the call. I think much more important than getting the people that are on the call interested is getting people to the call. That's a challenge. In the Zoom world, you might see, say 100 people register for the event, but only half of them show up. And part of that problem is that the USP, or the unique selling point proposition, was weak. It didn't hook them like it needs to hook them. So I always tell people that fishing is a 2-step process, right? The first step is you have to use bait that the fish likes to eat, otherwise they won't nibble. And then you have to set the hook. And the way you set the hook, if you're not familiar with this, is you cast your line into the water and you feel that nibble and you jerk the line just like that, and it sets the hook and the fish won't get away. So you have to do this in your email, in your graphic that you push out, in your verbal, if you're giving a verbal invitation because you're a guest at a Rotary meeting or something. You know, I don't know how many ways you're going to get the word out. Speaking of which, if you want 100 people on the call, you probably need to get 10,000 internet impressions. And your first thought probably is, holy crap, how am I going to get 10,000 internet impressions? It's not that hard. You're allowed to get 5,000 friends on your Facebook page. And if you posted twice to your Facebook page, in theory, it doesn't work like this, but in theory, 2 times 5,000 is 10,000. But you do 2 or 3 mailings, always change the subject line. You post a graphic many times. You ask other people to share. You're working all the platforms. If you're trying to get YoPros, please tell me you're going to market on LinkedIn, Instagram for YoPros, Facebook for sure, because you're going to welcome Rotarians to the call. You know, if you're lucky enough to get 80 Rotaractors to the call, and you're just that shy of 100, please tell me you'd allow 20 senior Rotarians to come in and sit in. Of course, let them season the stew, you know, a little bit. Let them what they call in Evanston backbench. Okay. I talked earlier about changing the subject line. There are four main personalities that you're selling to. This is true all over the world. The four personalities are the relator, the socializer, the thinker, and the director. So again, the relator, the socializer, the thinker, and the director. And the reason that's important is because all four process your invitation differently. The relators are the easiest to market to. They're just people pleasers. They'll do whatever you ask them to do. They're the people who say, we're having a Zoom meeting and you're invited. They go, okay, it sounds good, right? But they're not cynical and they don't ask questions and they're just pleasers. They just want to make you happy. So they're going to show up on the call. Directors are very efficient with how they use their time. They're going to want to know why they should attend. Tell me what I'm going to get out of it. And that's why the bullet points that I've provided or will provide for you are the secret sauce. If you just tell them, I told you earlier, make the speaker your USP. If you just tell them Angelo Caruso speaking, that's not going to be enough. They don't know my name. But tell the directors what they're going to get out of the program. What's Michael going to teach you or help you with? And they're in, they sign up. They go, it sounds good. I need that stuff. And we have to guess right about the bullet points. The thinkers are going to be looking for statistics and facts. And, they want to hear, and this is a simplified version of it. Michael's going to teach you in the 20-minute call, Michael's going to give you 50 ways that you can improve your leadership skills. What is our topic? Did we settle on a topic, guys?
No, so I was actually wondering if we could circle back there as far as topic, date, and then if we can work through that USP. So our original thought on topic was synergy. The conversation, and I think that's very broad. Where that came from was a conversation around how do you connect with other people in your industry? And maybe it's not a case of you're looking to, jump ship and go to another organization and not necessarily for those purposes, but just to build a network of people in the industry and resources and like-minded individuals. And then we built it out broader to synergy and how can clubs work together and how do you connect?
I think synergy is good. I mean, I'm hearing you say, if I read between the lines, things like building your network. We used to call it a Rolodex. I don't call it that anymore. Well, building your network's not a bad way to start.
And I think making connections.
Making connections, very good. But and sometimes I go after the first impression. I have a talk called the first 15 seconds, right? Which is perfect for this. But listen to the difference between the titles: synergy, the first 15 seconds, right? So we're after a title, Lori, that's provocative. The root word of provocative is provoke. I'm provoking you to learn more, scroll down, click here to register, attend, right? Provoke you. I want to, and in a noisy world, man, if you're missing this in your title or your subject line, you're screwed. You might as well not even have an event. It's going to be average. It wouldn't matter if you had the greatest speaker in the world. The pitch was flat, the attendance will be flat. The things that, you're doing this for two reasons. You want the rotor actors you want to reward them and deputize them, man. You want them to sign up. They're signed up. You want them to stay with you, not drift. And the other thing that you want is to sign up new Rotarians. If, what if we had something built into the campaign that said, bring a friend? Why not? It costs just as much energy and time and trouble for you to do an event for 100 rotor actors than it would to do 100 rotor actors and 50 non-rotor actors, 50 people who may become rotor actors. David, I thought you and I talked about a date. Am I talking out of school here?
So I think we were looking at the week. Rotaract week is the 8th to the 12th, and we were looking at the 8th, 9th, or 10th, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think, Michael, we touched on the 9th. Only reason being for Ruben and Lori, we just decided to pick a day. And that was available. Michael had it available. So I thought if this got pushed down a little further. At least we have a date picked.
Yeah,
So that's a Tuesday night.
You need a date and time for my session. That's what we're talking about here, right?
Yes,
Okay. And David, did we isolate that?
March 9th,
And what time?
7 o'clock, 7 to 8.
So Lori, did you know that, or are you okay with that?
I didn't know that, but it works. I'm good. You're good, Ruben?
Yeah, that's fine.
Stuff is getting done behind your back, Lori. That should infuriate you.
We
Yes.
talked on Monday, but I guess we had other things to talk about.
It's
I had
okay.
a
Ruben-
window. We had a window allocated
right.
for it, and this falls within the windows.
That's right.
Lori, I believe in testing, and Ruben, I believe in testing titles and testing reactions to things. This title that I'm using now, the first 15 seconds, I've used all over the world. It tests very well. People show up. It's provocative. People click. I can get that egg fried for you, the synergy and the building your network and these things that we're talking about. Are you happy with that title, or do you want something else?
I think that's actually a suitable title because it's that first 15 seconds is when you're setting the stage for the rest of the networking time that you're going to spend with that individual anyways. So I think that it's still an accurate outline of what to expect.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of two-part titles as well, because with two-part titles you can go after the left brain and the right brain. The left brain is linear and rational. Right brain, poetry, songs, has fun,
Creative.
right? Old school thinking, but it's still true. So the first 15 seconds is the imaginative part of the title, and the second part of the title could be how to make connections that amp up your career. So now we're speaking not just to making connections, which sounds like a good thing, but it's like telling people to eat vegetables. But why? Why do I need to eat those peas? Because if I eat peas, I can build my immune system and I won't get sick as often. And I don't like to get sick. Okay, I get it now. So when you say how to build your network to amp up your career, now you start translating all kinds of stuff. Oh, I could make more money faster.
Right.
I could buy my first home sooner, Ruben. So all of these things come into play when you have titles like that. Laura, you and I can communicate and put a finer point on all this stuff. Okay.
Yep. I like where this is going.
Okay.
So a
Good.
question for you, Michael. So when I look at Ruben, I look at Lori. Lori would love to ramp up her career. And Ruben, I think, would like to learn how to ramp up more sales. Is there when you do your presentation, are they two going to be connected? Because
Well,
you could have two different audiences.
Yeah. So if you've ever cooked soup, the danger is you put too many ingredients in the soup and then the soup tastes like crap.
Right.
So you have to be careful not to thicken it too much. If your career is sales, then I'm already talking to you. If you're not prone to sales or you're sales adverse, which a lot of people are, I don't like selling, they say, or I don't do any persuasion, which is not true.
No.
So now we're turning those people off. So it's not a sales program per se, as far as I know. Now I have done persuasion programs and made the case in the title, everybody uses persuasion, you better get good at it now.
Right.
So there's all kinds of, again, we can put a finer point on it.
No, that's fine. I like that first 15 seconds because I know myself, even being in sales management and in Rotary, it is important. That first 15 seconds,
Yeah.
that's where you're going to go.
So what we're really doing here, or more so after the call, is wordsmithing, choosing, like there's 170,000 words in the English language, not counting gerunds and verb derivatives and all that stuff.
Right.
So we want to use the exact right words and word combinations to provoke people and get them to show interest in what we're doing. So a minute ago, David said to ramp up your career, but I didn't use the word ramp earlier. I used the word amp. So we do a quick test. We can do it with the 4 people on the call right now. Which of you like the word amp better? Hands up. And which of you might like the word ramp better? Hands up. Yeah. So then we can have a discussion about that. It's a small pool here, but if it were 100 people and 80 said one is better than the other, then there's no discussion, but there's a small number of people here. So, and David's got seniority, so you might want to actually talk to him about that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
You
matter.
know, and in the end, it may not matter at all, but I don't think it can hurt to to not overthink, but at least apply ourselves to this. I want to finish with the other four personalities before we move on to new stuff. And it's just a 30-minute call today, so we'll wrap up pretty soon. So we've talked about the relator, the people pleaser. The director wants proof of concept before he or she signs up. The thinker wants facts and statistics, numbers usually, like 50 tips, how to increase your income by 10% with one idea. And of course, I have to deliver that idea, so let's be careful about what we promise. And then the fourth one is the socializer. You got to make it seem like it's fun. The best way to show that your speaker's fun is to show preview videos. And I have a ton of them on YouTube, nothing longer than 2 minutes for this purpose, because people can make major decisions about whether or not they like a speaker in 2 minutes, especially to get the right clip. And I can provide those clips for you. So those videos, again, are pushed out certainly on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn's time limit, I think currently is 10 minutes. I think Twitter allows posts up to 2 minutes, and Facebook does not have Facebook has a different problem. Facebook sometimes cloaks or throttles external links like YouTube, because Facebook doesn't want you leaving the platform. I suppose it's true on some level with all of these guys. And then videos, of course, problematic on Instagram. Let's do some quick Q&A now that we have a framework for success. And by the way, I prefer 100-day campaigns. I know we're already going to be shy of that for this event, but you just have to consolidate and telescope everything down. The reason I like 100-day campaigns is because we're starting a lot of brush fires, and eventually those brush fires blossom into a big bonfire. And if you don't have enough time to do that, it seems desperate. You know, you're posting every 2 days. You don't have time to be creative with the email, so you're sending out the same email, and pretty soon it smells like a flat event, and then I'm not going. Along the 100-day campaign, you get bragging rights. If you're shooting for 100 people, eventually you can say, we have 50 people already registered. Well, that's bragging rights. That alone will get more relators to sign up, and certainly the socializers. Cool. Let's do some questions. What can I help you with?
Well, logistically, how long should we anticipate the presentation to be?
Well, you've got other fish to fry besides showcasing your guest speaker, I'm guessing, yeah?
You will be the bulk of it. So yes, we'll probably open the call a little bit early, have a little bit of dialogue and social. You speak at 7, and then how long should we allocate?
What time's the event start?
Did we land on 7 o'clock?
If it starts at 7, then I recommend, depending on how many people you get, remember, we're going to try to greet everybody, so that takes some time. You can open the doors. In the physical world, we say the doors open 15 minutes before the event starts. And that's when, you know, the tables are all set and people flood into the room and get a drink and all this kind of stuff. So that's in television land, it's called the pre-roll. And that's when a lot of that greeting gets done, and it's called a rolling start, right? And the greeter keeps saying, I just want to say hi to some more people before we officially start the program at 7 o'clock as advertised. And he keeps it moving, she, whoever. And then at 7 o'clock, you've got a bit of business, which includes everything from introduction of the key people, some framework for when the Rotaract Club meets, what you do, nothing too elaborate, a website people can visit. You give it verbally and you post it into the chat. And the speaker intro, because if you tell everybody the speaker, you know, you're advertising the speaker and the program starts at 7, you can imagine their confusion if they're on at 7 and the speaker doesn't start till 7:25, which my Rotary Club did to everybody this morning. So do it as advertised. And then what will happen is, if you've got a good speaker that comes in at that 195 words per minute, like I talked about, the energy level's high and he'll get everybody engaged. You've already got everybody to talk once. I do Q&A as I go, so I don't wait for the end. So again, you want to hold the steering wheel, you want to drive, and it's all this back and forth. And then at the end, everybody's all so excited. It's a very emotional kind of a buy-in, and they're all marinated and ready to sign up for whatever project you need them to sign up for at the end of the call. And that's what happens, say from 7:25 to 7:30, if it's only 30 minutes. I think there's a lot of fat on the bone in these Zoom calls. And since I'm not retired, so if I was retired and I was in a garden club and, I had all the time in the world, I can sit with you on a 1-hour call and I don't ruminate too much about how much time you're wasting. But if I'm working 2 jobs and I'm just saying young people working 2 jobs, if I haven't eaten dinner yet and I'm sacrificing part of my dinner, David and I joked about this the other night, you better keep it moving. So I don't know, when I say what else do you have to do besides the speaker, if I'm the bulk of it, then maybe shoot for a half-hour meeting. Just the fact you're having a half-hour meeting will get people to show up, because that's unusual. The default's 60. But I'll do whatever you want. I can talk, I can be interesting. It sounds funny for me to say this. I can be interesting for more than 25 minutes, 20 minutes.
I've learned a lot just through our 30 minutes tonight. So I know this will be action-packed and content-packed.
Action-packed, that's right. Very good.
Fantastic. And I was on the call you did for, I don't know the district, the Saginaw's launching.
What was the topic, Lori?
You touched on a lot of sales stuff. I don't remember the actual topic. Is this a test?
Well, I'm just gonna forget about the fact you can't remember what I talked about and be glad you enjoyed the program.
I have my notes. You can't see this, but I took some really good notes. I really liked, there was a lot of, I'll call them content nuggets, like actual tangible, this is a good way to do this, not a high level theoretical. I like that. I liked how you did Q&A as you went and kept the conversation engaging and flowing.
Yeah, thank you. That's another selling technique, by the way. So if you tell people how great the program is, it's advertising. If a third party says how great the program is, it's the truth.
True.
So you want to use something called testimonials or endorsements. And I can give you one right now. I can send it to you in writing if it's too much to write down. It's short. I spoke at a president training session for Rotary not long ago, Great Lakes Pets. And Dee Brock, she called me later and she articulated it. And then I said, well, that's amazing. Can you put that in writing, or can I put it in writing and use your name? And she said, yeah, sure. Listen to this. She says, she says, lots of Rotary speakers tell us what to do, but Michael tells us how to do it. And I'm like, whoa, that's the best. And I said, Dee, can I use it? And she said, yeah. And now other meeting planners are promoting me with that little soundbite because it's like every word is golden. Wordsmith, right? Yeah, so you're welcome to use that.
So yes, please send that over.
What's that?
Please send that over.
Okay, I'll make a note.
I also encourage Lori to you to do one as well, and send it over to Michael, and he'll the two of you can work on it, because he's right. It was because of you attending, you came back and you said, we got to get this guy, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So Lori, you're trying to build, fly your own flag and build your own. You have a good reputation already, but what do we call that? It's like a self-burnishment of your own reputation, of your own credibility, your own integrity, and people will do stuff just because you tell them to do it. It's a weird thing, but yeah, they will.
It'll happen. It does happen. You got to get ready to be a district governor. So you got 4 or 5 years to get ready.
40 years to get ready.
You're going to be telling 2,000 people 1,100, 1,200 people what to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to cross your fingers that they do it, and they'll do it because you're who you are, Lori. You're Lori Brown, and because you know some tricks, and you're learning some of those tricks even tonight. Yeah. Ruben, we have no future for you at all.
No, that's fine. You're not the first person to say that. It's good.
I'm just kidding. But Ruben, it says your name all over it because it's all about persuasion and sales and getting people's attention and getting them to take action. The CTA, the call to action, right? Every time you post, every time you send an email, only one place to click. Please do not send them to your district website. It's a mess.
Yeah.
I just say that to all the districts. There's
Good.
just too many places to click, right? Do a landing page, a proper landing page where people can give their name and register for the event, even if it's a simple constant contact landing page. Okay.
Perfect.
What else? I smell pork chops.
I mean, dinner's on.
Soon, yeah.
Are we keeping you from it?
No, we built it in. Right, David?
That's right.
How'd
Had
your
a
club
snack.
visit? How'd your club visit go, David?
Really, really good. Yeah, really good.
Good.
It's kind of interesting. It's not like the one that you normally do because I sent mine out in a YouTube. And then I got there tonight knowing a little bit of history about the club. So I said, so what are you guys going to look like in 3 to 5 years?
Interesting.
And it was stone cold silence. I never said a word. I just waited and waited for them to unmute and talk.
I love it. Let's do something fun here. I never get tired of promoting. I want to do a quick screenshot, and I always pose the screenshot because most of us are using our neutral expressions or our resting faces. So I'm going to get you to smile just like a real photograph. And I'm going to do something called video hygiene. David, can you lower your camera a bit so there's not as much headroom? Very good. Thank you very much. And we try to get all, Lori's, yours is a little bit low too, maybe. If you're low in the frame, you look diminutive or submissive, not a good place to be if you're a leader. Okay, very good. And all our heads are roughly the same size. That's good. So at the count of 3, as soon as I frame this up here, we're going to have everybody smile. I don't know. I don't have any specific plans for the photo yet, but who knows?
You too, Laura. You got to smile.
Here we go. 3, 2. Thank you very much. Nice job, everybody. So you'll see when I post it, you'll see, man, these people are really having fun. This is cool. And again, that's the kind of image I want to have, Lori. I don't want people to think that I do average Zoom calls. And I always tell people it'll be way more energy than you're used to. And they go, yeah, whatever. And then sure enough, I deliver.
He definitely does. So we're really looking forward to it.
My pleasure. Guys, I promised a succinct meeting. I hope you're happy. I hope you got all the answers. You know how to reach me. You have my email address.
Absolutely. Are you able to send us some links? I'm just thinking on back end promotion, Ruben will need to connect and sort this out. Logistics, David, you and I spoke a little bit about a registration. Generally speaking, we don't pre-register. We will implement that for this.
No, that's fine.
And we'll need some assistance.
I like Michael's idea of constant contact. See, I think that's it's easily understood. One of the problems we have when people get into a Rotary world, sometimes we have our own things and we think everybody needs to know how to do that. But when Michael said constant contacts, let's do it and let's rock and roll.
Are we talking the software?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a one-time hit. Yep. Unless you guys know of something else that you use when you sign up.
No.
Okay.
So just
the other thing, Mike.
Sorry.
No.
Just to be clear, guys, the reason that we do registration is not the reason you think. Why do you think we need to do registration, Lori? I
would say from a planning and execution standpoint.
Okay. And some people say psychological, it's good that they register. No, that's not the best reason. The best reason is because you're going to remarket to these people. You're going to send them all a thank you for coming. You're going to promote your next event to them. You're going to remarket again when the pandemic breaks, because you're going to have an open house, a physical event where people can come to it. And you can just remember that this is the group that attended that meeting. So it's all about connective tissue and staying in touch.
Are we going to promote, Michael, beyond our district? Do you want it to be all the neighboring districts around us as well?
You can. You're waiting for me to answer. It's fine. I think the bigger the better.
Okay.
You know, I even say invite Rotaractors from all over the place, because nobody cares when they're on Zoom. Now that fogs the water a little bit because you'll have all these emails from people from all over the world, but
it's connections.
Not bad. You know, it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
Can I pose a thought? You spoke about the 100-day campaign.
Yeah.
We're at 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is this the right time to do it? We picked this time frame because it's Rotaract Week. which is nice, but are we better off to push this event out, have more lead and plan time, and execute stronger rather than trying to fit it into this
Mhm.
Good
calendar?
question. You know, do we have to celebrate World Polio Day on October 24th?
No.
It's a good question. Could we do a better job promoting it if we had more than 3 weeks? Thinking about the landing page, constant contact, 3 sets of emails, 10,000 internet impressions. I'll leave that to you guys to decide.
Okay.
If you think I'm going to be the bad guy, you got another thing coming.
No, you can smell that pork chop.
Yeah, I can. I'm going to run. I want to thank
All
you
right.
very, very much. I want to show you one more trick before I go. And this is pretty cool. So I'm going to paste in, because it's already set up for me, because I promote this stuff endlessly, these links, right? So to be an effective leader, you can get a free ebook. And guess what I get from you in exchange for that ebook?
Email address.
Email. If you do speaking of any kind, you can join my free Present Like a Pro group. I don't get an email from you for that, but you're going to get ongoing tips. If you want to grow your club, get the word out now on, so you get the idea in my newsletter. You get the idea, right? I keep inviting you to be behind the steering wheel and drive for a little while. Get involved, you know, and all you have to do here is click. If you're shy on Zoom, all you have to do here is click. I'm going to get you one way or the other. That's my motto.
Right on.
And I never use my powers for evil.
Never.
Okay, I'm going to go, guys.
Have a good one.
Appreciate
You want me to
it.
leave the line open, or are you all done? You're going to reconvene?
Do you guys want to have a quick chat?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, let's strategize.